Hey guys, Dan God of Thunder here. So this is going to be kind of the first of some quirky tutorial videos. English is hard. Excuse me. With regards to solo lane play, so I am a solo lane main. I think it's my best position out of the five. Doesn't mean I'm any good at it. So this is going to be a quick little video talking about non-solo laners in the solo lane. So I think most players know that any guardian or any warrior is at least mostly viable in solo. This is going to be just looking at assassins, mages, and hunters, and their suitability for the position. This is not to say this is a definitive tier list in the sense of being broken. This is just viability. So S plus is just going to be these are absolutely fine, going down to D where it's don't ever do it ever. Agni, starting it off, not a solo lane, doesn't really excel, doesn't really have anything that really brings anything to the table out of solo lane. You know, he just has a lot of damage, good AoE, really works best in team fights, which you don't get a whole lot of early on in solo. Almuz and Cobb is actually pretty good. He's one of the best hunters in solo. Not super mobile, but that's fine. If you lay down the hives, he does have some rotational power, but his in combat mobility is low. So you can use that to your advantage. You'll be able to ward easily with the hives, and he does have some sustain. The steroid's nice. Not a bad pick. Opwash, kind of a niche solo laner. He does bring zone control to your team fights. He does have sustain in his kit, and he does have anti-heal. I would reserve Opwash for the handful of occasions you run into an Afro solo or into a Hell solo, something with a heavy healing focus. That way you can use the Opwash to shut him down. He's kind of a dedicated anti-heal mage with some zone control. On her, really doesn't bring anything into the solo. Anubis, you can kind of use him. Most of it's just going to be you want to get the fleeting breath at level 1. The one where he roots himself. No, that's Swarm of Locusts. Who's his fleeting breath? I think that's Opwash. But you want to use that at level 1 with a tier 2 Bancroft. You'll clear the wave with one ability. And you can use that to get pressure. Not really a good serious pick, but if you're looking for something different to do in solo, give it a whirl. It's what I do for stress relief. People must hate me. Ao Kuang, he snowballs better than most into the late game. And if you can get Ao Kuang with, 3, 4, 5 items and you're ahead, he can snowball a team fight. That's really the reason you're putting him in solo, to keep him hidden away. Doesn't do so great in the 1v1 though, so kind of a niche pick, but if you want to really use that as your team strategy, go ahead. Aphrodite does bring a lot. She does have good sustain, works well. So if you need to bring that healer in who just doesn't die, Aphro's not a bad pick. Solo, I think, is her best position. She kind of lacks some damage to play mid. So I really feel like solo Afro is the best position for her. But, again, not bad. Apollo, I don't really like him as much as Amuz and Cobb. His thing is that he does have good rotation power with his ultimate. Do not use it as a teleport. That is the worst thing you could possibly do with it. You want to use the Apollo ultimate in order to rotate into mid, rotate into Gold Fury, and use that. You're going to be faster than the other player. Take advantage. Arachne is also not a bad pick, just maybe not the best pick if you have to not play if you can't play traditional solo. She does have some of the same applications as Ao Kuang, just a little bit better with her rotations, and she does have the inherent lifesteal. Ao Kuang does have it too, but he does have to box for it. Artemis, no point in ever using her for that. A Wheelix, I've seen players use a Wheelix solo to some level of success. I'm not necessarily sure on myself. I'm a bad Wheelix player, and I'll freely admit to it. But I have seen it work. I'll give it some credit. A Wheelix can be scary into that mid game. She does get a lot of damage off. Just never seems to work for me. Bakasura used to be better. The Eat Minion combo does give him some sustain in lane. It does have to be very up close to do any real damage in lane, so he can get poked down very, very quickly. Not a great pick, but, not bad either. Baron's been struggling as of late, but he is still a good... So he's primarily a solo lane. I think in his case, he just lacks the range. His ultimate's really good for crowd control, doesn't really rely too much on magical power. He does have the team healing in his kit as well. I think Baron's best in solo out of all of his positions as well. Bastet, non-starter. She just has some damage, very low CC. Doesn't really bring anything to the table right now, but we'll see later on. Kamazatsu right now is excellent. He has shitloads of lifesteal all over the goddamn place. Overall, just a really dangerous solo laner. Late game falls off a bit. He doesn't have CC in his kit of any note, and his ultimate takes himself out of the team fight. But if you're killing everything, it doesn't really matter. Still pretty good. Kurnanos, he does have a little bit of that lifesteal in his kit, so you can double lifesteal as a hunter. That's about the only thing he brings. Shunga, also a very good solo. I think some of these healing mages may actually work best in solo. Shunga does not need teleport, which is a big, big piece in her favor. She does have the immunity with her 2. She just doesn't bring a ton of damage, but she does have doesn't have a ton of crowd control either. But her ultimate is extremely potent. If you bunch up enemies in a team fight, the Shunga ult is one of the best in the game. Kernabach, a little better than Kurnanos. His rotational ability isn't really quite on the same level as Apollo out of solo, because you're restricted to where you can move. He is fairly effective, though, in that kind of capacity, just to make a quick rotation over. But there is more counterplay by the other team available. Not really great, but, playable. Chiron doesn't really bring anything... doesn't really bring anything of note. Kronos just scales really hard into late game. Again, nothing else. Cupid, people do try to play Cupid. He does have the heart, he does have hearts for that as well. That's really the only calling card he has if the jungler wants to gank frequently on your side. He can get some team healing out of that. Daji, Discordia, no real point. Fenrir's kind of fallen off a bit. He's not seen nearly as much as he used to be. They try to focus more to make him useful with power rather than pure tank. But at the end of the day, Fenrir is still a hybrid character or full tank. Prudwen is an extremely good item on him when you're building protections, because it will scale the shield and the damage off the shield off of his doubled protections in Ragnarok. Freya, I'll give her a little bit of credit just because she is now back to that super hyper carry that she used to be. Still kind of a low tier character, though, to bring into solo, but you can make it work. Hashiman, really no point. He only has extra range on some of his autos. Hades is kind of janky, but he is also a pain in the ass. More than a joke character in solo, I think this is his best position. If he's going to be in the middle of the team fight, he does want some protections, even though he gets a lot in his ultimate. But, the ultimate only lasts for so long. Habois, I'll put him also a little bit above useless, just because of him scaling so well. Late game Habois is definitely a scary thing. Hell, unlike the other 3, I think she does work very well in solo lane, but I don't really think solo's her best position. Her position really is mid. She has a lot of damage. She can heal. She is an absolute snowball character, but you want to get her healing up as getting the impact from her healing, as in getting it into the jungle fights, 2-on-2s, all that, more quickly. And I think she's better at that than the other 3, who kind of can be kept away and then bring him into the pivotal team fights later on. Hera, not a whole lot of point. Ho Yi, Hoon Bots as well. Again, good characters, just Hoon Bots in particular, you could use the ultimate in order to set up things, but he works so much better with power than tankiness and just team setup, because if he just builds power, he can set up the ultimate and just kill everyone off of that. Izanami has the Tower Shred, but beyond that, no other point. She has some of the best Tower Shred in the game. Giannis, I'll give him a little bit of credit as well. Not really a viable solo, but that being said, through space and time to set up some quick rotations can be effective. I think Jingwei and Amuzan Cobb are two of the best hunters. Jingwei, let me reverse. Words are hard. I do one take. Jingwei has a mini teleport as her passive, so like Shanga, she does not need teleport in order to be an effective solo laner. Don't buy teleport on her, but the fact that she doesn't need it really helps her case out. She's otherwise just okay. But that passive goes a long way in solo. Kali, same. Loki, people play Loki just to be a split-pushing dickbag, but I think ever since they nerfed him with reducing the physical power scaling on his first auto by 25%, he just really can't hack it anywhere. You can still do the split-push tactic. It's not as effective as it used to be. That's really the only thing Loki brings to the table, is that he tries to be hard to find, hard to hit, and just annoys everybody on both teams. Medusa, no reason to ever play her solo. Mercury, he's another character that just scales very hard. Golden Blade is not the worst thing on him still, even though it doesn't proc on the one. But, you're looking to, you can set up the look to get some big crits off of the Merc, and keeping him away in solo, maybe not the most ideal plan, but if that's what you want to play, there is a plan there. Merlin, really, he's really best in mid. Neith also is a really very viable solo laner. She has the heal in her kit, and she can impact team fights without being there through the use of her ultimate. Those two facts actually put her as a fairly solid solo lane hunter, for whatever that's worth. These are all still mostly niche, but, you can make it work with her. Nemesis actually had some popularity in solo. I'm not quite sure why. I really don't feel like she has anything that she really wants extra levels for over anything else. But it seems like it was popular for quite a while. Najah, also in the same boat. He lost a lot of his base stats off of his abilities, especially the ultimate. He has healing in his kit, and you can get some cheekiness with the Totem of Coup bounce with the ring toss. Beyond that, not a whole lot of reason to play him in the solo lane. Nox is another character that people advocate for in solo. I just don't know why. I think there isn't really a position she plays all that well. I think she's just she is just kind of an annoying character overall. Nuwa, people play her. Please don't. She scales well, but the fire shards don't do enough in the early game to really justify it as a rotation. It doesn't have the same damage on a single target as Neith ult. It doesn't have CC either. Olorun, again, don't. Pele used to be better. I used to play a lot of Pele solo when she was new, but then they nerfed her into the ground. As it stands, she has some lifesteal, but that's about it. Persephone, again, a character that needs a lot of stuff going on. She really needs to be kind of in a set piece, pre-plan. Doesn't really work as well in solo. Poseidon, keep him mid. Ra, just because he has so much healing, he can play solo a little bit. He does not do well with tank items. He really wants damage, and kind of means that he doesn't work as well in most team comps as a solo. But if you don't care about that and you just want to have fun, yeah, you can fuck around with Ra solo. Raijin, no point. Rom, no point. Ratatosker actually is a pretty solid solo laner, all things considered. Through the Cosmos gives him a lot of rotational power, which is very nice. And he has a lot of CC in his kit, so he actually synergizes really well with defense. So you can build Ratatoskr pretty tanky and have a lot in his kit because he has a slow, he has a prot shred, he has a stun, and his ultimate does have knockup on it. It also means he doesn't have to be going back to base to get his first item, which only helps. He still wants teleport. Don't use Through the Cosmos as a teleport substitute. Robin, another really good option. Obviously, since he was a warrior, they didn't change too much. He gets the constant shielding. He has heal in his kit. He has a heal in his kit. And he can use the overhead kick just to be endlessly annoying. He's actually pretty solid overall. Scylla, no real reason. Serket is just kind of a dangerous character. She does synergize well with defense or offense, as you so choose, because of her ultimate. And she doesn't really need levels, but she doesn't mind them. I think she's an okay character in the solo lane. You need to learn how to play her in solo. She can't really stand up 1v1 against most warriors in the early to mid, but later on she can be pretty threatening. Set, kind of in a little higher. He's not bad. The skewer did not help, but a lot of healing off of the ultimate. He is pretty dangerous 1v1. He's not the best character for solo anymore. He used to be pretty much stick him in solo, synergize with a hybrid build, and just watch him run everyone over. That isn't the case anymore with him, I don't feel like. But, amongst what we're judging here, viability of assassins, mages, and hunters, he's not bad. Scotty, no real reason to play. Soul has tower push out the nostril, so I'm actually going to put her up in C along with Izanami for the same reason. She also has inherent sustain, which helps a little bit. Still don't build her tanky, obviously, but you can do stuff with her. Susano, I've seen him played a little bit just because he's very good right now in solo. Just in general, played in solo. I've never seen a Susano solo do well. Thanatos actually isn't bad. Again, he has rotational power. He just doesn't build. He doesn't build quite as well, and he doesn't have as much CC in his kit as a Ratatoskr does. So I don't think he's as good in solo, and he really just wants power and penetration. But that being said, Hovering Death as his ultimate gives him a good ability to rotate. Scent of Death means he's going to outspeed the other solo towards a team fight. And he has the sustain. So there's reasons to play Thanatos. Morgan can kind of play anywhere she wants just because of her changeling. Not really the best solo pick, but yeah, try it. Have fun. Thor, I think, is also a very viable pickup in solo. Good clear, lots of CC, good rotation. The only weakness is he has no sustain, but he has more, he has very good CC, and he has better damage right now than either Robin or Ratatoskr. Thor Dunk, if you can land those, can do a lot to change a fight. Thoth, no real reason. Ooh. He doesn't really need the levels, especially because his power curve is best at level 12 and below, just because of the way you want to level him up. He's okay into the late game. I just don't know why you'd ever put him in solo rather than in carry or mid. Vulcan, people do play him in solo. He is a character that wants levels like crazy, and the turret can be a little bit trickier for a traditional warrior to deal with. So there is some merit, but otherwise, meh. Shiva Lanke, his ultimate does give him some solo lane utility, but it's much weaker than what characters like Neith provide or anyone else with a global ultimate. I don't even think it's on Nuwa's level, but since he does scale a little bit better, I think he is a little better than Nuwa in solo. That's not saying a whole lot. Zeus, no reason to put him there. You want him in team fights as quickly as possible to get your chain lightning detonates off. Zhang Hui actually works very well with tank as well. He has a lot of sustain. He works well with Gem of ISO. He doesn't have a ton of CC in his kit naturally. He has a slow and stun, and that's about it. He gets protections for free, although it's not as good as it used to. He used to be one of the premier solo laners just in general. Now I think he's still absolutely usable in solo. I don't know if it's his best position. So anyway, there you go. The last time I did this video, it took 36 minutes. We're just over 20 as I speak this. Camazotz right now is really obviously the best solo lane non-tank. He synergizes well with everything. He's a bastard to kill. His only weakness is that he doesn't have a lot of CC, but if your rest of your team comp has a lot, you should be fine. C and D tier, really no point. B tier, these 3 levels here, they have niche applications. And these 3 levels here, S+, S, and A+, usable. Absolutely usable. But below that, you need to have a specific reason, I think, in order to play them. Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. As I am pushing towards trying to get the channel monetized, just being transparent here. If you're seeing videos on this YouTube channel, I'm sure you'd rather give me money than YouTube. I hope you like me more than a mega corporation. If you're watching to the end of this, hopefully. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Take care. Catch y'all next time.